Hey guys, let's go over some stocks real quick. And wow, today everything that came out of GameStop went into other areas of the market. Unbelievable. This market is, I think we're seeing a new market here completely. This is like insanity. Stock of the day was Sava, S-A-V-A. Holy crap. Let me start with DraftKings first. Something's going on here. And I want to show you the technicals on DraftKings because we have a very similar formation happening that we had before this huge breakout. If you look at this primary hump, then the secondary, then kind of a grind up, and then a double retest of the double top. When you blow through, yeah, we get it. We pull back to the lower channel, but now you have the same configuration, but just more of a exaggerated look. You have this big hump, and then you have this little secondary hump, and then you have kind of a grind towards the double top in here. If you zoom in on DraftKings, this was the last candle top before we had the big move down all the way from 60 to 35. That's a pretty significant move, but within the context of, this move up, we never, even though we put a tail through there, we never really broke channel. But this was the last candle. So when you look at the top of that candle and you extend it to the right, it's right at $60 and change. And we go all the way over to today, that same candle had a lot of energy and there was a lot of volume, very active action. So you have some posturing going on, and DraftKings probably had her earnings. Something's going on here. It's going to have a big move. I can't tell which way. It seems bullish because if we take that line and extend it intraday, I was shorting it along that line, and every time it kind of broke down, it didn't matter really. It regained itself. So when you see these formations like this, I was shorting here, then covering, then shorting, then covering. But when we got to this little wedge in here and it dropped, you can see how some of these patterns that I look at, you start to form this wedge tightening and it drops. I've shorted them right along there with a tight stop, looking for that big drop. But as soon as they drop, it just regains it all the way back up. That was a legit print there because I got stuck in that. So, my stop is usually right above, if I'm short, the prior candle before the pivot break. But you can see how quickly it regained it. So there's as much selling as there is on strength, man, there's buying on weakness too, and it's really hard to figure it out. I think I shorted it again there, then covered into the close. I don't like to hold anything, especially in this market, short. And I was just trying to figure, would DraftKings roll over today? That's it, nothing else. I was just trying to figure that out. I mean, we can clear this whole bunch out. And then I'm going to show you Sava and then go over some other stuff. Amazon after the close, I think they crushed earnings. I mean, I didn't even look at the numbers, but I'm sure they did. Jeff Bezos announced stepping down, so you can see the stock had some volatility based on that. If we just look at the macro move in DraftKings, it really has like a defined channel along here, and then it kind of breaks it and then back tests the channel, and then you're still back at that same area, like 60-20 all day long, 60-20. So we've hit it. There's definitely some selling energy there, but like I said, on the 1 year daily, we're starting to form that same chart pattern that we did before on DraftKings where I showed you. So that could, like I said, bring us to another breakout to the upside, which I guess, depending on the trajectory that we were looking at here, is sort of like this. Maybe we create another channel line that puts us up around, 74, 75 in this area here. So interesting move. Just keep an eye on that one. Today, the monster of the day that I was trading was Sava. Oh my god. I mean, this thing was $1. I think it was even lower than that. But now it's Alzheimer's news, and Alzheimer's, unfortunately, there's your 95, get GTFO, get the fuck out, level, which I've never seen stocks really stay above that for too long. So always keep in mind that when you're trading intraday, because this was a monster intraday. I mean, it just kept bull flagging. Holy mackerel. And then at one point, and I'm going to show you what I look at on a separate screen, I have just a MACD and RSI, and I could tell kind of where it was time to get out. I mean, look at it. I mean, even if you're just using like horizontal resistance and support, you can see every time this thing broke, it was just constant, like boom, explosion, boom, explosion. Another little wedge in here. A little bit of a bear flag drop there, but then it regained itself, back tested the downward descending trend line right along here, and then blew up again. Like I said, back tested it, and then it was just so powerful. So powerful. Looking at the shape of the MACD, though, as we rose at the top, we got some divergence here because even though we were starting to make higher highs in this level, you can go straight up here. That was at 1355 is 155. You can still see that at 155 we were still making higher highs, but that put me on guard. I said, oh boy, the bottom's ready to come out on this one. Then you can kind of see the channel lines up in here. We're still going good. And then I did that a little bit sloppy, and then you started to make this like a rounding top. You know, it just didn't have the same trajectory. You can kind of see how it started to round out in there, and it was just time to get out. You can kind of see this little rounding top in there. And it was like, okay, we're losing that like momentum line right here. Time to get out. And then you really started to kind of do the opposite pattern. You know, bear breaks, pennant, bear break, pennant. Old area became resistance along here. Unfortunately, Alzheimer's drugs seem to have, you know, bad follow-up news, I guess you'd say. This is definitely active in after hours. I mean, look at these moves. This market is insane. I mean, look at this double bottom in here. Jesus, I mean, it just keeps going on and on. You know, these are the kind of moves like from the pivot breakdown here that once again we're looking for intraday. So I don't know if you guys want me to stream on YouTube live trading. When I go on Twitch, no one's really watching. You know, I'm not a gamer, so I guess no one really cares. Yeah, this would have been a nice move. I mean, another steady kind of line up here too. You know, little wedges forming, and like which way is it going to go? You know, and it pops that way. But then you have this little stranded area. I'd be surprised if it gets above here, because that was a pretty sharp move down. A lot of energy. So it's kind of fun to play these. Let's see what it does. Who knows? Short covering. GameStop, the disaster du jour. A lot of people asking me target price once everything just came unraveled. I said I thought it would base around 100, 105. I'm not sure about that now. I'm starting to push up through there. I don't even know where it is. I traded a little bit today. 87. This move here was like, where did that come from? Because this is definitely the area of energy, and you can see in the morning. This is one of my Fibonacci lines, 130, and you can see once it hit, and it kind of went sideways, and then boom, the bottom fell out. If you extend it to the right later, it was like, that looked like a short squeeze, right? As soon as it got through there, it was like, whoa, what's going on here? And they gave it all back. I mean, I think it got halted there. There was a halt in here somewhere. Here was the halt probably, because you have the gap, the space there in time. Downward halt. And then that just became like an area of resistance again for energy. And as soon as we got close, people were selling it. They weren't even waiting. And then I was kind of watching these little trend lines. I can't short it on toss, think or swim. But just ugly action. And from the pivot, I think you just make another continuation move down somewhere along here. A little spike at the end, probably short covering, and then it kind of held this little area, and then another leg down again. It's just ugly. Like I said, I still think it could base around 105. Energy might pull it back there, but we're in the 80s. This stock's definitely broken for sure. I mean, I said on Monday, yesterday, that yesterday was the most pivotal day in the stock's history, other than the huge monster short squeeze to the upside. I said if it doesn't, break up 295, we don't get above 330, it's in trouble. And I did not expect it to be in the 80s today. To be honest with you, I didn't expect this move here. I thought we kind of find some equilibrium right around where I said the support was 100. It seemed like, the concept was right that any pull down break below 100 want to gravitate towards back 100, and they blew through it. I mean, this is all over the place. A lot of computerized trading. Amazon, same thing. If you try to short it on the Bezos news after the close, you got smoked because it dropped precipitously, and now it's just grinding higher. Stock looks fine here. Nothing to worry about on that one. I'm kind of watching Wimi, and then I'm going to go over... Wimi seems like it has a chance. I was big today, but I just gave it up. We couldn't get a continuation move. It was a little sloppy. And then we look at Wimi on the 1 year daily. It has a nice base to generate energy. Along here, it had a nice base, and then we did a reversal. And then if we just get rid of that, it just has like, there's the pivot break to the upside, and they've given up every pivot move to the upside. And finally, and you can kind of see this upward trajectory, right? A slight gravitation higher, and then you can kind of see this is just a bullshit bear trap there, but and then you can kind of see we finally started to like stop breaking out. Even if you want to use that line there and touch the wick from the 27th or whatever this was, 12.8 actually. Sorry, you can kind of see that it's finally righted itself. It's a little volatile for me, but I like the configuration here. I just wish, like this generates a lot of power, this consolidation, and then you explode, and then nothing new that we haven't seen, and then a curl, then a blow up to the upside. I mean, especially when you look at the history. I don't even know why is earnings not on here for Wimi? That's bizarre. I show all my earnings on there. But when you look at like the 3-year history, we had that giant move. People remember that, and that becomes like their favorite. So I guess it would be nice to see it close above 950 on the daily, instead of putting like a little wick through there and then kind of falling short. I'd like to see it kind of close above this. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on because now it has some shape to it. And these cup and handles, we'd like to see them curl with massive volume. And today it just didn't get it. Definitely got more volume. But I'd like to see massive volume, especially when we're on the high side of the MACD. We want to see a touch and go, but we're not, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on this one. But I do have a small position. INO is the one that bothered me today because INO looked like 22 for sure, and the farmers are super hot. The problem is on intraday, 4 days, I had to take part of my position off. I'm still holding some because the dailies are still making higher highs. It really needed, I didn't really worry about the after hours, but I was really hoping that it stayed along this formation. But as soon as it opened up and it couldn't hold this little area that it needed to, I took some off. I did not expect this move down. Honestly, I didn't even see what the news was on INO. I'm still expecting higher prices and looking for 22s. 2020, I believe, was the first area of resistance. We got to 1974 in pre-market. I gotta look and see what the news was, but it definitely started to see a little bit of firming up down there. But the 1-year daily is still higher highs. Just in a market like this, you want to get it while we can. So here's your 1-year daily. We can remove this stuff, and you can see the higher highs on that one. Not the kind of higher high you want to see, but it's within the normal context of the trading pattern. So at least it wasn't on huge volume. I don't know. I got to see what 19 brought. Why so much energy at 19 to the downside? Most likely because I guess that's where the gap was. So maybe that's just all we did was fill the gap, and we need to repower up on this and be a little bit more patient. Like here's the gap. And we've gone back to the gap and then sold all the way off again. So that's just an energy area that we're kind of screwed with, unfortunately. Within the context of this big move, that was the gap, but we retested it and failed. And now we're just kind of coming back up there. So maybe there's a lot of stranded traders there. We have to burn through the cells before we can make that next leg up, and use a lot of energy on that volume there too, just to get there. So Sava, like I said, be a little bit careful on that one. DraftKings looks interesting. My ANTH, I was only able to get 12,000 shares of this one. I have a crazy sell-in. I was trying to add to it. Something's going on here, guys. Like I said, it's averaging about 200,000 shares a day now, which is nothing for a penny stock. We need to get this thing going. But at least we saw this huge, what is that? 6 million share day, and it looks like that was the bottom, and now we have like an interesting little pattern developing for a penny stock, right? So no complaints. Try to buy 3,000 there. I think it was, I put the order in Friday, and that was it. It's kind of pulling away from me. I don't know if I should remove that now, because if it gets back down there, maybe I don't want it. I don't know. I mean, how far down? How much money can you lose anyway? So yeah, interesting action on ANTH. You know, we're looking for a home run. Maybe this one will be it. It's in the biotech sector. They've been around for a long time. I don't have to worry about it going to zero anytime soon. Silver, I was short yesterday, but I was scared to hold into the close. You know, the silver market is massive. So if anybody thinks they're going to go out and, you know, squeeze this market higher, it's probably not going to happen. But it's probably just range bound on silver now. It's not like I'm expecting a big drop either. But if you look at the 4-day 20s on silver, I think that's a level I was shorting from, and it was great. It was a great short trade, but I think it just covered. I mean, it would have been nice, yeah. Hindsight's 2020 to kind of hold that. It wasn't pretty big, but it is what it is. I think we're just range bound on silver. Nothing crazy. Neo, just not acting right. I was short today too, looking for that to roll over, but it's hard to get anything to roll over in this market. So Neo, you have this kind of area that was like a double top kind of breakout right in here, and they sold into the news, and I actually had some Neo and I sold it that day, and that was a huge volume day, and that was it. Look at the big volume there, and that was it. The top was in. They came back and retested, it failed, so not what you kind of want to see now. Now you've already like hit this little area along here multiple times, along 55.70, 55.80, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I get it. There's buying. The market's super speculative. You want to buy weakness. But the bodies of the candles are starting to get a little bit lower, and that kind of concerns me. And it's hard for anything to just completely get crushed in this market to the downside. But look at the shape of the MACD throughout this formation. You're getting expansion. So a little worried on NIO. Fundamentally, you guys probably know more about it than I do. It's just I don't like to see these wave patterns like this. And here's another one. Like, you know, could Neo actually like come back down and retest, you know, 46? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it could. Because at least we had this breakout formation when you had the high and you pulled back, and you did have the same type of thing here with this lower support, and then you have this from the pivot break, you have this kind of wedge break to the upside leg up, and now is it doing the same thing where you have this wedge break to the upside? Well, you can replicate that and figure which way we're going to go, but just the shape. Notice the shape as we were coming into this pivot break point on the MACD. Let's go straight down and look. And you can kind of see. Oops. See how we kind of curled into that spot there? But look, as we're coming into this spot, it's the opposite. So not what I want to see. So for buying holders, I think you can get, you know, unless some news comes out that I'm unaware of, they can get lower prices. I keep shorting it, looking for it to break this support. Maybe it happens tomorrow. But the problem in this market is, there's so many guys out there that are just speculative buyers, and they don't care. They want to buy it on weakness. So you don't get a lot of follow through in this market on the downside for sure. Sava broke above that little pivot. If I was an aftermarket trader, it would be nice. Nope, actually it didn't. I'm sorry. My bad. Kind of failed along the little energy line there. Actually, my line was probably off a hair. It's more like that. And that's that little last candle within this little configuration. And the next resistance level for tomorrow is definitely going to be 64.70. I don't know what this is going to do tomorrow, but Alzheimer's stuff usually unfortunately doesn't end up well. And when you look at the move on this is all day traders. There's no institution is chasing this thing up at 74 when this thing was $1.63. They're probably selling into this move, but this is definitely on the hot stock list for tomorrow for sure. BINGL. Let's see what Bingo's doing. I don't know. Bingo's kind of looks like that same type of formation where it needs some help here. It's going to be running out of gas, but nice little cup and handle again. I don't know. That's a pure. These are like intraday trades. I don't really mess with that. ONTX, I'm kind of adding to some shares on this one. Like, I'm looking for something that could be a monster. I mean, these are penny stocks, but like ANTH, I guess they're worth it. It's still on the right side of the MACD, but it's kind of coming back a little bit. So it's definitely a little bit soft right now. But what does that mean in this market, right? Not much. And then I have some momentum lines here that it kind of would prefer that it holds. So I don't know. I don't want to see it close below 57 cents, but that's 10 cents lower than where we're at right now. So you know as well as I do, anybody at any point somebody can jump on this thing and rocket this. Because you look at the 5-year daily, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of an odd formation though. You know, it's like a giant wedge, right? I don't know. And we're kind of in this giant wedge. Got it almost right, almost perfectly with that. I don't know. We'll see. I have some shares of that though, just for fun. If you guys want to leave some comments below, we can check out some other stuff. But what's hot in aftermarket? Let's see. Apple, same old, same old. TQQQ up $6 today. Sava Science up $37 at 60.42. Someone asked me about Open the other day. I said it looks interesting. UAVS is a little bit weak. Clover Healthcare, CLOV up slightly in aftermarket. CCIV, Telray too, man. We said buy MJ a while ago. This is the marijuana stocks. Look at all these breakouts. I kind of think this area now is going to be a little suspect for MJ. We've had a monster move. We keep breaking to the upside. We're getting a little high on the RSI too. We could, if we replicated the 80 move on MJ, maybe you get to this old area up here, 23.92. I would not be holding this past 23.92, not because it can't go higher, but because I would expect it to go lower before it goes higher. So you're gonna have a lot of stranded traders right around this little area in here, even if you get there. I don't like a cup and handle formation at this level, the RSI, and this configuration on the MACD. Not my favorite. So just be careful in the marijuana stocks. I know there's a lot of news play. Tilray is a great one. It's got tons of moves behind it. I think that's about it, guys. CPSH. I'm just looking at the ticker scroll on CNBC. CPS Technologies. This is kind of interesting. 8.69 bid by 875. What's the news on that one? And BTWN are both. I'm gonna have to add this to the list for tomorrow. CPSH and I think BTWN's had a big move already, if I'm not mistaken, right? BTWN. And GSM's been hot. Global Specialty Metals, I think that's what it's called. So let's look at the S&P 500. Really strange behavior. I was shorting it all day today. Intraday. I just kept short. Look at these moves. Oh my god. This is what worries me. I mean, you go from 381 in after hours to 382.70 SPY. Once again, I was looking for pivot breakdowns. You can see what I look at, little lines of energy, and there's a pivot along there. So I would short it along here, and as it started to go down, I just continue to move my stop, and then it goes right back up again. And then the pivot break up in here, I was short again, 383 and at 5. I think I got in at 383 right at the top there, and then another nice move down, but then it goes right back up again. So I can continue to move my stops, especially when it hits here. I tighten up the stop because if it breaks, I know it's going to get slammed down. And then it goes back up again, and look at it, right back above. So a lot of volatility in SPY, but you can see all the little configurations that we look at, and then a little pop. So there's a lot of movement going on here, guys. It looks like selling, short covering, a lot of maneuvering in I think Amazon's part of the S&P 500 too, so no shock to see this big move down and then up. I don't know, when we look at the 1 year daily, for guys that want to buy UVXY and go short, I'm not ready yet to go lightly short and hold it. I was hedged, and I told you the other day when we had the big pullback on the market that it already covered. We want to wait until we get at least above. I mean, this took a lot of the overbought condition away from the S&P 500. I mean, that big move down And now you have a lot more room again on the upside. Although today's volume was kind of lackluster compared to the selling volume. Your highest volume days have been selling. Doesn't mean anything because there's still a lot of money on the sidelines looking to get into this market. But it kind of feels like, I mean, these are some levels that I look at. It kind of feels like, you know, this was the bottom candle area here from the big pullback. I would be shocked tomorrow, but in this market, I guess I wouldn't be shocked. 383.60 area should hold some resistance. I don't know how high did we get today. That's not going to be a perfectly straight line anyway. I mean, we got close. And I can't believe that we could have such a sharp move down in the market and then just get right back up and make new highs. I mean, nothing would shock me, I guess, in this market, but I'm a little cautious here. You know, we made this bounce and then a lower low, and then I guess as soon as we got back above 375.30, anybody that's shorting the shit out of the market, looking for the big move down that seems to never happen, they obviously covered and pushed it back up again. But with this configuration, I guess we can still keep channeling, you know, somewhere along this line higher and higher in the market. You have these little overbought conditions when you get above the channel. They tend to pull back. Overbought above this little channel tend to pull back. But I guess we could keep replicating this until we do get back into the overbought zone. And that's the stuff we're going to look at. Channels and then hitting RSI on the high side, like we did in here before we make any attempts to go with like a UVXY where we're going to buy and hold it. Here's the overbought, 79. I'd say 75 we could put SPY on guard, on watch, and look, because, you know, anything that has follow through is going to be a doozy on the next correction. We just can't seem to get it. I think the market was a little bit worried about when you see things like, well, what's up with HOL? When you see moves like we saw in GameStop, the market, you know, participants say, oh, wow, the market's getting way too speculative. I need to take some money off the table. Wow, why did this gap up? All right, we'll look at that one tomorrow too, HOL, but I don't know what's going on with that. There's so many things moving. It really is like a giant casino. And then ALRN is active in after hours with a little small movement. I'd be curious to see what's up with that. I think I covered a lot here. Nano Dimensions, what a disappointment, man. I remember I was talking to a guy about this stock when it was like $1 or something, and this huge move that it made to the upside. And I just thought it was done, and I just started ignoring it. You know? Look at this move. Remember this guy that had that huge move to the upside and it just kind of pulled back, and I think I just ignored it because it went from like $6 down to $2.71. I kind of thought it was dead, and then it's just been on a tear. Not sure if this has another move left in it. Anyhow, I will talk to you guys soon.